Alrighty, hi everybody, my name is Saucey. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about something a little more serious, so if you feel like it's a little too much for you, I totally understand. But today we're going to be talking about eating disorders and what you might not know about them. So cue the intro! First, for people that might not know exactly what it is, anorexia is when somebody can withhold food from themselves, and usually the end goal is to reach a certain weight goal. It is not always that case. It can be something else. It can be something along the lines of how it makes them feel. Sometimes the feeling of being hungry can make somebody feel like they're in control of something. I know that's part of it, but there are lots of misconceptions about what anorexia really is. Always skinny, always very like bony looking, which is not correct. You can look any certain way and deal with anorexia. People that are overweight can be anorexic. People that are identifying as male or female, it doesn't really matter. Anorexia can happen to anybody. Jokes are still made today about it. For example, oh, you need to eat a sandwich, or you look anorexic. People will use these terms as like a way to say you look good, because apparently skinny equals good, like in that sense, and that's not something you should joke about. You don't know if that person's actually dealing with it because it's a mental thing. That brings me to bulimia. Bulimia has a lot of the same connotations that come with it. So like usually you would assume somebody with bulimia is thin, looks like they're bony because they're not getting the nutrients they need. Also, you could assume that somebody with bulimia would disappear after they ate. That is a misconception as well. You don't know. Oftentimes people with eating disorders, they avoid food in general, or they have this fear of eating with people in public anyways. So you don't know. You shouldn't assume either way. Bulimia can cause a lot of health issues along with the other ones, and one of the main ones is the acid that comes up from your stomach when purging. It can really mess up your teeth and cause them to turn like a yellowy color. Not all the time, so if you see somebody with yellow teeth, don't just assume. Like I said, we're not assuming here. So another thing with bulimia is that sometimes you can get hair that grows in different places that otherwise that hair wouldn't grow. And I know we have little hairs all over our body, but it's like actual long growing hair that it's just different. It doesn't look like it should be there. That is another thing. There are plenty of other symptoms, but if you want to check those out, you can just go to WebMD. I'm not trying to sit here and spit WebMD at you this entire video because you can find that yourself. Anyways, the next one I want to bring light to is binge eating disorder. Binge eating disorder it's different for everybody, but I hate doing this, but the general idea of it is that somebody will not eat all day and will essentially starve themselves all day, but then they'll eat like a mass amount of food. My best example for this one is this guy that showed up on Megyn Kelly Today's show, and he suffered from binge eating disorder. His example was that he would go through, I think it was 4 different drive-thrus and get tons of different food and did this every day. And he would get tons of different food, get home, sit down, eat all this food. It was a mass amount of food, and he said that he wouldn't even remember doing it. Like at the end, he would look at the wrappers and stuff and just be like, I don't remember eating this. Like, this is not, did I do that? And just feeling awful. Then you feel like this extreme amount of guilt, right? And so it's really, really crappy feeling. That is my gist of it. It's not always that extreme. That was a very extreme case of it. Some people could still eat snacks throughout the day, but then still eat a mass amount of food at the end of the day. It's not always at the end of the day either. It can be at any time of day. It's just usually towards the end of the day. So that was binge eating disorder. Let's move on to one that I think the whole purpose of this video is There's this one that I feel like is very important because I personally have struggled with it, and it can lead into very dangerous eating disorders like the ones I just mentioned. One called orthorexia. Orthorexia is this obsession, almost like OCD-like obsession with eating healthy. And you're thinking, oh, well, what do you mean? Like, eating healthy is great, right? You can always eat healthy. Well, sure, but when you start obsessing and it becomes your life, and you eat one cupcake or even one bite of a cupcake, and that's all you think about all day. Personally, that is what I have struggled with for quite some time. And it's where when I worked at a bakery, I would get a free cupcake every day, and I would never actually swallow it. I would just spit it out. And I thought it was just me being healthy, right? Because I get to use that excuse. I get to be like, oh, I'm just really healthy. And I would also use excessive exercise to cover up from other people and myself what I was doing to myself. And the reason this is very important to talk about is because this behavior, if not addressed or noticed, can actually turn into things like anorexia or bulimia, because that obsession can become so extreme. So if you look at other countries, there are plenty of other countries in the world where being what we would consider overweight or chubby, which is such a weird term, it would be considered beautiful in other countries. They purposely will gain weight to achieve this look of what we would consider overweight, which is astounding to us here in the United States and the Western culture especially, because our culture has pressured mostly women to have these unrealistic skinny bodies that like don't make sense at all. Honestly, they're so unrealistic. They're photoshopped. Even before Photoshop was out, they would use pieces and pieces of other women. Sometimes 7 other women would be combined into one woman for a magazine cover, because apparently this girl's arms were better than that girl. Like, how shit, like, wouldn't you feel like crap if they were like, oh, your arms aren't good enough, so we're gonna use somebody else's arms? That's kind of mean. Yeah. So that's been going on for a long time, and I strongly urge everybody here to recognize what they're retaining from media and ads, because ads and companies have to make a problem for you to buy their product. That's kind of how that works. So your brain, when you see an ad, whether you like it or not, or you notice it, subconsciously, your brain is going to see that ad, and if it's like, oh, I look like that person, what are they trying to tell me? And if you look like that person in the ad, which a lot of us do, it's like, wow, I have that problem, I need their product. So for example, those horrible ads you see that are like spandex or Spanx ads, especially on Instagram, where it's like this girl that looks totally fine, but they turn her to the side and they obviously make her wear super tight pants. So yeah, she has a muffin top. You wear the right size pants and you won't. But they make it look like it's such an ugly problem to have a muffin top, which is utter bullcrap if you ask me. But guess what? They have something to fix the problem. And so you're like, wow, now I need that. And that's not how it works, because that's unrealistic. Those people are purposely portrayed to look a certain way that they don't usually look like. And it's the same with makeup ads. It's the same with hair ads. It's the same with everything. We're designed from a young age to want to achieve this unrealistic standard of beauty, and that leads into a lot of eating disorders. It's amazing the science behind eating disorders in our culture. 60% of women and girls, 60% will have or had dealt with an eating disorder in their lifetime. And it's because our media is very unrealistic. And I really hope that you're able to notice this now. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you learned something from this video. Please subscribe, join the Saucey posse. I don't know what the video will be next week. If you have anything to tell me, I would love to hear it. Any questions, hit me up. I'll try my best to answer. Thank you so much. I respect and love every single one of you. I love you so much. Thank you. No, seriously, I respect you. Either if you agree or disagree with things I have to say, I respect you entirely. Thank you so much. Remember, there was always enough room for you in this world. Always. There's enough room for you. The sun shines for everybody. Love you.